Are you a thoughtful leader? Maybe you are. Maybe you think you are. Let's find out. I'm Mindy Gibbins-Klein. I'm author of The Thoughtful Leader and host of the Thoughtful Leader podcast. Thoughtful leadership is all about thought leadership that goes above and beyond. Thought leadership that is truly new and original, exciting, disruptive, maybe even groundbreaking. Because let's face it, we need to raise the bar. My guests and I are absolutely obsessed with finding truly original thought leadership, and I'm going to bring you so many exciting ideas and opportunities, things for you to think about, and chances for you to push your thinking that you'll be very glad you tuned in. So thanks so much for checking out Thoughtful Leadership and the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. Welcome to the show. My guest today is the amazing thoughtful leader, Lilach Bullock. Now, I've known Lilach for quite a few years, and I'm so excited to have her on the show today. Boy, has she got a wealth of information, knowledge, and insights for you. Hello, Lilach.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, we have had some fun times and made some money over the years, but mostly fun times. So tell everybody what you're up to in the world, just so they get to know you a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. Hi. So I'm originally from Watford in the UK, and I moved to Israel just over 3 years ago. I'm a business and mindset coach. My background is in social media and content. And I work with solo entrepreneurs, helping them to grow and scale their businesses.
And she's done some great work for my companies. As I say, it's been a long time we've known each other, and I can vouch for her and her wisdom and services. But really what we like to do on this show is get into the nitty-gritty of the person and their thoughtful behavior, because let's face it, we need to put our thinking caps on and be thoughtful several times a week, probably several times a day. So what is a big decision that you made over the past few years where you had to be thoughtful?
Oh, gosh. I mean, personally, obviously moving to Israel was a massive decision. It was a dream that always wanted to do, but we had resistance from my daughter because we'd come to Israel on holidays and she'd fall in love and we'd talk about living here, and then we'd go back to England and she'd be with her friends, and she was young, she was 14 when we moved here, which is a really tough age to do. And then I think what happened was I had a client, it was an Israeli company client in London, and I remember I'd been there for meetings and I was so inspired and just talking about, how I miss it so much and it'd be so nice to go back and, for a holiday again. And Emily was like, oh, well, let's just do it then. And I literally jumped on it. So it was really funny because it was a really long decision process. It taken, I always planned to come back here, and it taken 14 years to come back. But the actual decision of once we said yes, we moved really, really quickly. And within 3 months, we were here and we found a place to live. And then 2 months later, we moved. We'd literally, boxed our house up. And it was just a whirlwind. It was very, very quickly. And I try to apply decision-making because I think making decisive decisions in business is so, so important. There's a lot of studies. I don't know if you've seen any studies of how really successful entrepreneurs make really fast decisions. They hire fast, they fire fast, and all of this. And I find it fascinating, and I do try to apply that in my business, particularly when I'm hiring people. I tend to kind of hire fast as well as fire fast, just because I think we spend too long on decisions and it sucks out energy, negative energy, which I like to have a positive and a free mind. So that's how I make decisions.
I love it. And I think a lot of our listeners will relate. The issue isn't the decision. It's the fear of where that will lead. Will I make the right decision? And, if people are not used to taking big, bold steps, then it is scary. But I've found, I don't know about you, Lilach, when you make a big, bold move like you did, a literal move, it then becomes easier. You, in a way, I guess your subconscious knows that you can do that. And so the next one is maybe easier and faster. I don't know. What do you think?
I totally agree. You're training the muscle. It's like I'm part of the 5 a.m. club. So every day I'm up at 4:45 and I love it. I'm such an advocate for it. I've been doing it for over a year now. It's totally changed my life. But in the beginning, it was so hard. It was painful. It was, and now I'm up. Like this morning, I was up before my alarm. You know, it doesn't even go off now. And you're literally training the muscle train. It's all mindset, isn't it? Because we are afraid. We're afraid of the unknown. But what we should learn to be afraid of, which is baffling why people aren't, is, well, what if we don't make that? We're so used to being safe and comfortable. And I think as part of growing a business, it's our responsibility and it's our duty to be bold, to take every day and do something bold and something that scares me, even if it's just having a cold shower, which I still don't enjoy. But it's just that momentum of doing actions on a daily, consistent basis, which scare me and make me do bold things so that I can make decisions on a daily basis.
That 5 a.m. club, yes, there is something to it. I think I'm in the 6:30 a.m. club, but I'm not a real club. It's so funny that you mentioned cold showers because about 5 or 6 years ago, I was being interviewed for Entrepreneur on Fire, but with John Lee Dumas. And I remember him saying, do you take cold showers? And I didn't know that that was a thing and Wim Hof and all that. And I said, only if I haven't paid the bills, ha, ha, ha. And I'm so embarrassed. That interview is out there and I sound like an idiot. But yeah, I sometimes stick my arm in the cold shower just waiting for it to warm up, but not the whole body. All right, maybe you're braver than I am. Let's talk about bravery versus boldness, because there's so many words that people throw around. And as you know, I really care about the quality and integrity of the words we use. That's what we work with. There's courage, bravery, boldness. Are these different in your opinion?
Yes, totally. Because I think being bold is taking a big action, doing something which maybe does scare you a little bit. Maybe you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you're being bold. You're putting yourself out there. You're being really authentic. Whereas being courageous and brave is doing something which really scares you, which you're really nervous about what the step of doing that, what that's going to happen. And I think it's all down to being vulnerable, isn't it, in terms of how courageous we can be. I'm throwing a lot of words in there, but I think they're all interlinked. And I think it's all such a mindset thing. And it's one of those things that every day as part of my 5 a.m. rituals that I do, I write 40 positive I ams about me and what I do. I have all these lovely little rituals that I do. And some of the things that I write about myself is, I am bold, I'm brave, I'm courageous, because every day I do things. And that's how I work with clients as well, is I encourage and I motivate them to do the hard things, to take courageous steps, to do the activities which are going to move the needle closer to your goals. And that inevitably means being totally authentic, being really brave and courageous, and just being you. And we're so scared of being our true selves, or saying things for fear of what people will think or not think or ignore. With social media, we're obsessed with likes and comments, and we finally put ourselves out there. And what happens if nobody actually responds or someone says something negative? So I think it's all very interlinked there.
Well, you do work with social media. You're an excellent blogger. You know all the tricks, the links and the content, and you put graphics. I'm just so impressed with what you do. When you work with clients, though, and you encourage them to get out of their comfort zone and be vulnerable and get out there and post something, what do you say to them if it's just tumbleweed, as they say, if it doesn't garner any attention? What's your advice, or what do you say to that client?
Well, not everything will. And I think that's a good thing because it helps us. But also, we have to remember that there are so many lurkers. And unfortunately, in social media, there's more lurkers than action takers. So we must never lose sight of that. And I always tell people that lurkers are your best friends. Keep posting. It's all about the consistency because people are watching, trust me. So whoever's watching this or listening to this, I really urge you to not be disheartened because people are watching, and most people, the amount of times I had someone reach out to me the other day saying, "Oh, I love your content." And I was like, "Really? You've never liked or commented? I didn't even know you viewed it," you know. And I always try to like and comment other people's, but I'm also guilty of it because there's just so much noise online. But that's when the whole posting quality content that, you know, really resonates with your audience. And also, I'm always talking about don't be obsessed with those metrics anyway, because they're vanity metrics. They don't equal ROI or anything like that. So always focus. I'm very commercially minded. So always focus on the results. So just because you have hundreds or thousands of people liking and commenting doesn't mean you're going to have that in your bank account. And that's all you should care about as well.
That is such great advice. And I was just thinking about myself and my businesses over the past few months and really trying to court the likes and attract more attention and engagement. But you're right, it doesn't necessarily translate into business. We've worked with each other for a while. You know what I'm going to say here. My preferred way to do business is still with the little black book. If I could, I would not be online at all. I'd be on my landline talking to people in a coffee shop, meeting, you know, but the internet and COVID and everything has put paid to that. So, all right, let me ask the very big question. If somebody listening knows they really need to be more visible and more active online, but they really don't want to, what are you saying to them?
Well, first of all, I'd like to get to the root of the reason why you don't want to, because I think that's really important. But I'm very blunt with heart. You know, people work with me because they want to have exceptional results. And the only way to create exceptional results is to make changes and to do things that you don't want to do. As I say, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And there's no right or wrong in terms of what people want from a business. But if you do want to have a business which has scalability, which does grow, then you have to be visible. You can't get around it. So I would always recommend to people, it's like practice. You know, you look at any YouTuber or anyone on video, you know, you and I, we've been doing this for years. I mean, for me, it's 17 years. I don't know, it must be similar for you as well. And we still get nervous and things like that, but you can just do it. I mean, like, it just takes practice. Everything is practice, and the more you do it, and I always recommend to people, just start, just try. And also, you're talking about what you know, and when you can get people to feel confident about how amazing they truly are, because we're all gifted at something. I genuinely believe that. When you're talking about what you love and how good you are and how amazing you are and the transformations that you bring to other people, that's when you can build the confidence, and gradually and slowly it will flow. But it's practice. I mean, I would urge everybody, if you're nervous to get in front of the camera, then literally do it 5-10 times a day, 2 minutes a time. And by the end of 30 days, you will see a massive transformation in your delivery, in your confidence. You'll care less. There'll be less ums and ahs. And it will just flow much more naturally.
Are you saying they should be posting these or just practicing with their phone?
I think practicing first of all, but then definitely posting. Yeah, sometimes you just have to do it and you have to get over it. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but that's the reality. Business, you know, I can remember when we first started business, social media wasn't even around. We could go to a networking event. You only needed to join 1 or 2. You know, just have business coming to you. It was so easy. Now, I work harder today than I did 17 weeks ago because it's so noisy. It's so saturated. And you could work on a really strong referral basis years ago. Now you can't do that because there's literally hundreds of thousands of other people. And because we're so connected to so many people, unless you have, like you and I have, like a really strong relationship, we've met multiple times, we've worked together, you just can't you have to start from somewhere. And I think social media is amazing, and I love it on one hand and I hate it on another hand. I honestly do. If I didn't have to use it, I would prefer to go back, because I think we're worse off today. I feel sad for businesses starting today. I think they have it much harder than we do.
Wow, we get all the confessions coming out on this show. Love it. You've heard it first here on the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I love it. Oh, Lilach, I didn't know that you had a love-hate relationship with social media. That's going to come back to haunt us. But the thing is, I mean, we have a love-hate relationship with business, with decision-making, with everything we've been talking about so far. I guess most people have a love-hate relationship with life at times. So really, it's just a little microcosm of our life. And my philosophy about life, as most people know, is it's here for us to enjoy and to push ourselves a bit, but mostly enjoy. And I really hope that if people start doing these videos and doing the cold shower and doing the hard things and, getting up at 5 and whatever they choose to do to get out of their comfort zone, I hope they can find a way to enjoy it. Listeners, I'm talking to you. I hope you can find a way to enjoy all these things, because, it shouldn't be a chore. Life is not meant to be a chore. That's Mindy's philosophy. What do you think, Lila?
Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree. I think life is for living, and it saddens me that there's so many people who are struggling and have it really hard. And I think we all have an opportunity. And as I say, I think it's our responsibility. I mean, I've had terrible hardships and trauma. I've lost a baby, and I really struggled to overcome things like that. I've had financial hardships as well. But I think life is what you make of it. And that was, for me, one of the reasons for actually moving here, because I feel, I'm not dissing the UK at all, because a lot of people love it there. But for me personally, I have a much higher quality of life here. And I think, and that for me was one of the reasons why I wanted to move here as well. But I think, life is for living. And I really feel strongly that everyone can have it. I can remember watching this video years ago about this woman I can't remember what country it was, an African country, maybe Uganda or somewhere. And she was showing me her room, with her house, and it was literally the size of my office. And she was so happy, and she didn't have much, but she had books, and she had more books than so many people in the UK would have, because that was her prize. And she was so happy and so smiling, so radiant. And as long as she was learning and teaching her children, so I don't believe money buys happiness. I believe it buys freedom, and it can change lives, but not always in a good way. And I think we have to find happiness and joy from within ourselves.
Oh, I got goosebumps. I have a big smile on my face for those of you only listening in. Oh, gosh, this is what it's all about here. We think we're talking about leadership. We haven't even used that word once. I must ask you a question about leadership now. What do you think makes the biggest difference for a thoughtful leader compared to the average person? What makes them different?
For me, I think it's having a growth mindset is really important. And you hear the rain, got rain. Can you hear it? So I think having a growth mindset, being a good listener, having the ability to empathise and understand, I think is really important. But also I think being able to make decisions and tough decisions and always learning. And I think for me, it's being prepared to do things which not everyone else is doing. So that's one of the things that I try and do. I try and not be a copycat and not follow the crowd. And actually, I try and do things very differently to others, because I do want to stand out. I don't want to be another business and mindset coach. I want to stand out from things. So I think it's multiple different things, really.
Thank you for sharing that. We only have about 1 minute left. And in that time, where does the time go? If you had one tip for somebody listening now, I like ending with a tip, and people have had lots of them over the months we've been doing the podcast. What would your big tip be?
I think my biggest tip would be to take massive, consistent action. My motto is I'm never threatened from competition. I never have been, because I know that I will always outwork other people. I'm so driven and I'm so resilient. And I think if you can take massive action, the right action consistently every day, and just keep powering through, you will start to see the results.
Well, I hope everybody heard that. That's what we're all about here. We do have exceptional people coming on the show and exceptional listeners and viewers. And I want to thank you, listeners and viewers, so much for being part of this, the Thoughtful Leader podcast. And mostly thank you to our guest today, Lilach. You can look her up. The bio is there. Her links are there. Please connect with her, follow her, and you can have more of her amazing gems and insights. Thank you, Lilach.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. Thanks.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Thoughtful Leader, and I hope it's inspired you to be more thoughtful as a leader in your business. Please consider subscribing and leaving a review. An important question for you. Do you want to create a culture of thought leadership in your organization? My best-selling book, The Thoughtful Leader, is available now on Amazon and many other sites in paperback, ebook, and audiobook formats. Please visit www.mindygk.com for more great content. That's www.mindygk.com. Speak to you again soon.